Welcome one all, my name is Tawess and that's yellow mech. I still can't properly film when I airbrush things, so I'm just gonna talk through the process. We basically based it to an airbrush brown, give the center of a skeleton bone and then put all the yellow in. It was a fairly quick process, just three quick layers and then adding a bit of speed paint to just use up the shadows a bit. Use them up. Now, why yellow? Well, to be honest, there was no really idea behind why I was going to make this yellow. It was just like, I got another project in the pipeline that requires me to paint a lot of yellow, so why not see what we can do with this? Yeah, that was the grand idea of it. Some of you will perhaps have an inkling of what this project is, considering recent releases in the wargaming space. Also, when you saw the red, pretty sure some of you have a much further idea, but if you don't have an idea, I'm not going to hold you over the coals. I have decided to paint my Leviathan box, which I got a hold of in the colors of the Imperial Fists. And yeah, that's a lot of yellow. So this is a trial run for a quick yellow and red paint scheme, basically. Nothing more specific than that. Some of you might remember that I already have painted a few of these. Not these mechs actually, those were 3D printed mechs, but I had painted a lance in the Imperial Fist colors before, but this is basically just trying to quickly see what we can do. So yeah, that's the idea behind it. So you're gonna see this as an uncut version because it's a really quick paint job. The whole goal was to paint this quickly because there's a lot of models in that box and I do not have the intention of going through them bit by bit, doing a lot of work that way. No, we go, it's quick, should be. It's Space Marines after all. There's no point in painting them usually unless it's a display model. These are not going to be display models. So yeah, pretty much today was to see how quick I can get this done. The airbrushing took about 5 minutes, give or take rinsing of the airbrush, but even with that included, I should say about 6 or 7 minutes. So this entire process took about 20 minutes from grey to finished, and I think that is an acceptable time per model for army building. And then you can go in and put in more time with the character units. Now, some people might wonder, I'm not sure if you do, but why do that? And will I do that on camera? No, I will not be painting Leviathan models on camera. Why? Because everyone has done that already. Most of them because they're contractually obligated to do it. And the poor people who wasn't contractually obligated to paint them will put their videos out in the coming week when the set releases. I will not do that. This will be a fun project for myself. That's just the way it is. Also, this is not a Warhammer channel, and Warhammer content on this channel tends to do so. And as I said, I cannot add anything to the process of creating content around Leviathan that not a lot of people already have done. That's the way it is. Anyway, let's talk what we're doing here. The hood cap, the top of the head. Red, because basically just trying to see what happens if put a red base down on yellow, because the sergeant helmets of the Imperial Fists are painted red. Then adding some silver for the weapons. Now, again, this is a matter of taste. I always paint my weapons silver because they're easy to identify. So now, that's just me. I know that thing on the head might not be a weapon, it might be a comm unit. Doesn't matter. In this case, it looks better than silver. I know the antenna, I'm going to paint silver later, ain't a weapon either. And not saying only weapons are silver. but the weapons are always silver. Do you see the thing there? Anyway, as I said, the airbrushing was a fairly quick process. I just put down a solid layer of Armor Painter Air Brown, Fur Brown, I think it's called, something like that. It's a very, it's a the starter set brown basically, and gave it a fairly hefty dose of Sentinel highlight, just to make sure we got a good idea of where the shadows and highlights are supposed to be. And then I punched it with yellow. A bit too much yellow. I took away a bit too much of the shadows, that's why I went in afterwards with a bit of speed paint to just bring some of it back up again. And I think the end process and end effect was pretty good. I could also wash this if I wanted to, but I did not want to spend another turn going over trying to bring life back into the paint, because this thing, had this not been a paint test for units that are technically not mechs, like this is a test for an upcoming batch painting of Space Marines. You don't generally apply speed paint or contrast paint to Space Marines because they have a lot of flat surfaces that does not do all that much. This would have done a lot good for this one. I might actually do that in a later stage, giving it a quick sepia wash or something like that. I'll leave it like this. It's still crisp enough. It's still smooth enough that I kind of want to leave it as is. I kind of like it. The brown helped to keep the shadows, but you know, each to their own. Silver paint here is the Lead Belcher from Games Workshop. Base paint, that, again, I like using base paints from Games Workshop. They cover really good. They're a bit heavier to work with. They don't flow particularly easy, but they have a high pigment load and are not particularly see-through, which is nice. And that allows me to put them down quickly. And as I said, this is sometimes something you strive for. It's easy to get caught in this whole idea of, oh dear lord, look at this, look at that. These people paint like 2 weeks for a model. It's like, yeah, if that is what you like, that is great. But sometimes some of us just need to put down paint quickly. Slap it on, get going. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a style. And if it makes you happy, you should do it. And more specifically, you should not do a painting style that just causes you grief, because then you won't finish your models. I like to sit somewhere in the middle right now. I like this pick and clean rapid painting style for most of my things, especially things that are going to be handled by other people, like the mechs, for example. No point in burying 72 weeks into a model that is going to get dropped on the convention floor repeatedly, and that shit happens. But every now and then I like to take some time, put a few more hours into a model, making sure it looks nice. I do not have the patience to be a competition painter though, and this channel will never have really that level of stuff going on. There are plenty of people out there to watch for that kind of content. I'm more like it's like a conversation between friends while we work. So yeah. Anyway, so the idea here was basically just see how quickly I could get this done to make sure that we have a good level of quality, but also a fairly rapid pace. Now, actually, I had someone ask me why I paint the feet silver always. And there's no really good reason as such. It's just that I kind of like the idea of something that constantly hitting the ground being unpainted. I could, of course, just go over them and just paint a sort of distressed look instead. But again, do I want to put that much work into something? I don't know. No, not really. Now we're going to apply a little bit of non-oil anyway to the face because it's in shadow and I want it to be darker than the rest of it. So a little bit of that. And it's one of these things you could just go in and strategically apply a shade wash. Like for example, I could have taken a sepia or brown wash and gone on the arms, on the armpits, pits, inside the legs, the crotch area, everything like that, making sure that every area that's supposed to be in shadow would have a more pronounced shadow. But I think I got there anyway in the end. You would judge with that. But my standard recipe, of course, is putting this on everything that's silver, because everything that's silver usually looks a bit too cartoony, especially at this scale. As I said, this is a 10 to 14-ish meter tall walking tank. Small, very shiny things looks a bit odd on them. Like an airliner in all chrome. It's like something doesn't really look right with that thing. So yeah, that's the idea anyway. Now, let's take a short moment and also talk about where we are right now. Basically, we're moving to the summer. I'm not gonna say productivity will go down because it really won't, but I'm currently kind of in a holding pattern because we're currently waiting on the mercenary boxes, the target exclusivity of the Solaris box, and of course the big one, the Kickstarter. And that had put me in a pattern where I don't like buying mechs right now. I'm gonna go through with the things I have. Don't have any big things. Because basically, for what it's worth, it's a big box coming. It's a really big box coming. And we're going to go through that box and we're going to pick through everything, show it off. Yep. But that's what's coming up right now. Note that that's what I want to dedicate a lot of time to Leviathan, because, again, I can't see milking enough content out of that one at that point. Yeah, we're going to touch up the eye there with bright silver and then add some edge highlighting to things because, well, why not? It's fun to add edge highlighting. Also, it became a bit too dark from the null node. My null node is running out. It's dying. And when it's dead, it's dead. It's gone. And I'm sure we try and get a hold of that old bottle, but at the same time, I don't know if I have the energy. For those who don't know, Games Workshop changed the recipe of their primary wash. And that's a wash that's been more or less unchanged for a very long time. It caused a bit of ripple. Most people have gotten over it by now, but you know, people are people. But yeah, as far as this is for a quick paint job, I think it's okay. Maybe we should have done more with panel lining, for example. So I think you can do. But I don't have any oil washes, so I don't want to do panel lining. And panel lining, for those who don't know, is when you apply a liquid to the inset areas and then use the capillary action to have it follow the line but not leave the line. So for example, if you put it on the striped areas at the top of the mech here, you would have it go into the lines and then stay there. But you can't use, you can technically use, but null node, for example, ain't particularly good at this because it is not really, it's a bit wrong consistency. Adding a bit of it's called Jade Lightning, I think, something like that. It's a bluish green speed paint, at least, to the silver on the eye to make it pop a bit more. Again, we are harkening back to Imperial Fist paint schemes. So yeah, I could have done that. I decided not to do it because, again, the goal this time was speed and not high level of design. Maybe a wrong choice, I don't know. Will people like this video? Again, I have no idea. I thought people were gonna like the Overwatch video, but no. that video did abysmally bad. This, it's probably a little bit better. I should have painted a white stripe on the helmet, but I didn't want to do that. So yeah, I think next mech we're going to tackle is the Crockett. I think, because well, the Crockett is a fun mech. And if you have any suggestions on what we're going to paint it as, leave a comment below. If you're still here, I don't think you're still here, but if you're still here and you have a idea for how we're going to paint it, what company, what scheme, what design, does not have to be Battletech related, it could be anything. And if you want me to paint like a mystery man from Scooby-Doo, just tell me. Can't guarantee I will do it, but at least tell me. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The mech is done and it took about 20 minutes from start to finish. I think that is decent, this result. Now of course this was thanks to having an airbrush. Had I not had an airbrush, this would not have been this quick. We'll probably add another 10 minutes on it for that. But there you go, a Cyclops. Painted yellow. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, and do play fair. Bye.